Good evening and welcome to Press Play. I'm your host, Cedric Fisher. It's good to see you guys again on a nice Friday evening. It's hot out there. We're coming from Black Book Studios here in San Antonio. This is our studio here. You can find us at blackvideonews.com. Like our Facebook page, Black Book Studios, and you can catch this episode on YouTube, Black Video Network in the space bar. All one word, no spaces. COVID-19, it's here and it could be here to stay. It's an interesting situation because the numbers are now piling up. It's spiking, almost out of control. I just want to suggest to all of our viewers, as you know, this is disproportionately impacting our community. Make sure that you are listening to the medical experts. Take the mandates and the direction and guidance from our medical experts. Wear your mask, social distance, self-isolate, take care of your health, whatever you need to do to make sure that you can continue to watch this show every Friday. We're looking forward to seeing you, and we want to make sure that you don't have to watch this show from inside a hospital. Tonight, as you guys know, we are always talking about two big topics. Currently, one, COVID-19. We, by the way, have built a resource, a website of all things COVID-19 for the African American community called blackimpactsab.org. blackimpactsab.org. Go on the website, see if there's some helpful information there. We encourage you, if you're inclined, to donate to our nonprofit and help us get the great work done we're doing for the community here. And of course, the other topic that we talk about is racial injustice. The protests are still going on. Some of the marching may have simmered down a little bit, but just keep your ear to the ground. We're hoping that some of the changes are going on with police reform and that sort of thing. And we continue to bring on special guests who can address these issues. Of course, we are now coming up on a local election, and we want to make sure that each and every one of you gets out and vote. We spent a lot of years fighting for that right, left a lot of blood on the streets. Execute your vote. If you don't vote, don't complain. If you don't vote, don't complain. Having said that, we have a special guest on tonight, and we'd like to bring Miss Monica Alcántara to the studio. Welcome, yes. Monica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on today.
We've got some very challenging questions for Monica. She is the current chair of the Democratic Party running for re-election.
That is correct.
So you would be considered the incumbent.
I'm the incumbent.
Okay.
Yes.
Monica, why don't you just share your background with our viewing audience and tell us all about you?
Absolutely. Well, I've been in office for 2 years, but I was born in Houston, and I went to school in Houston. I became a litigation paralegal. I have been a litigation paralegal for 26 years now. And so all of my 26 years, I have worked on the plaintiff side. And what that means is I have always worked helping those that have been injured, those that didn't have a voice. And so I've enjoyed doing that for the last 26 years. And right now I'm using my voice in a different capacity. And that's really to get Democrats elected and get our Democrats out to vote.
Okay. And you're you're currently the incumbent, right?
Yes.
So there's some competition out there.
Yes, I do have a challenger at this time.
All right. So if I'm a voter, and I am.
Yes.
Because I've already cast a vote. Mm-hmm. Why would I choose you over whoever else may be in the field?
Well, so when I came on for a specific task, and that was to ensure that we grew our party, that we brought in transparency, that we made it more inclusive, and we actually got to work to ensure that we had actual Democrats who were Democrats running for office. We didn't want anybody kind of sneaking in. I wanted to ensure that we actually had Democrats. And why was that? And that's because I was looking at it as a mom, right? And as a wife, and what did I need for my family? And so when I took those steps, become the chairperson, I have in my family, I have I have a veteran dad who I needed to ensure that his rights were protected. I have a lesbian daughter who I needed to ensure her rights were protected. I had a young mother who was a single mom as a daughter. I needed to ensure that her rights were protected and she could ensure that she had access, and there were actual Democrats that were going to be there for my grandchild. And so I always tell everybody, I am a walking Democrat.
You are.
Because we touch every aspect just in my household alone.
That's a lot of diversity at the Thanksgiving table.
It is.
That's great. So part of your mandate or platform is to unify people of color and.
Absolutely. And so what has occurred, right, with everything that we're seeing right now, all the injustice all across, right now is the absolute time. I've already had conversations with an amazing group. I'm sure you've heard of Pharaoh Clark and the Reliable Revolutionaries.
Sure.
And I've spoken with, John Owens. I'm sure you know him, with NAACP, who runs a chapter. And right now, what do we need to do is we need to bring everyone together. And that's the reason that it's so important that our members, or those that are out there, become precinct chairs, because then you have a voice within the party and we can push the material forward, right, through resolutions, and then take it to our electeds and so on and so forth. But in doing the work, we need to bring a voice from everyone. So we need we were just talking about this, I need our Chinese Americans, we need our Muslim Americans, we need our African American brothers and sisters, we need our Latinos to come vote. But how are we going to do that? And that's by sitting around having conversations about, what is the need? And we all have that same need. So together we have one solid voice, and our voices together would be so strong. Right now, as they go into the next legislative session, they'll only have 5 months to get to work. But guess what? We have time now before January to come together as a whole, make our voices heard, and march every other week down in Austin, making sure that our legislators hear us. And that's what we need to do. I had a conversation just last night with Mr. Clark and some of his members. And you know what? There is the work they are doing is phenomenal. But I will tell you is that my age group, and I'm putting my age out there, I feel like I'm on the older spectrum, and older, had a divide as the understanding about the word defund. And it wasn't until that was explained that we're all on board. We all understand it, and we are all for it, right?
Sure.
But it wasn't until it was explained what the word defund meant,
right,
that then there was some pause and some question. So I'm all for helping our electeds understand what it is that our young people are out there fighting for, because I think we're all fighting for the same thing. I think we're just using different vocabulary.
Yeah,
and I
different
think
semantics.
Once we make that clear, I think everybody will be on board.
Well, oftentimes, and I'm a journalist, so I'm guilty of being in the media too, but the media can spin things in a way
right
that give a listening audience a different impression or perspective of what they're really trying to say.
And I agree with you 100%, but I believe it's going to be up to us, and you're part of the media, to help our members out there understand what it is that our protesters are trying to say, what it is what is the desire, what is the need. And once you help in that platform, and I help in that platform, right, we all need to come together to help them with that messaging, and then I think we're all on the same page.
Okay. Given that, the media can control some things, and obviously you're in a competitive race right now, and there's been some controversy that has been sort of tossed against you. But
absolutely.
Why don't you kind of talk to us a little bit about that, or how you feel about it?
Okay. Well, like I said, or like you just mentioned, I've been since day one. I believe that there was a group, and understandably so, that lost their leader and felt disenfranchised. When I came in, I told you I was a litigation paralegal. When I came in, I thought I took out the leader, but I was ready and willing to work with everyone underneath. Just as I have for the last 26 years, and every law firm I've been in, they take out one of the attorneys, and guess what? You may not know the new guy, but you're willing to work with them because there's a job that you have to get done. And that's the same thing right now. There should be no difference. We all need to come together, because fighting amongst each other doesn't get us anywhere. we all have to come together and fight who? We have to fight against the Republicans. We have to ensure that we get Donald Trump out of office. So right now, any of the petty mess doesn't help any one of us, any group. It only hurts us. And so I'm hoping that once I'm reelected, hey, everybody, even if you felt that, wait a minute, I didn't care that, we had a new leader, come back, come in. I want us to unify. I want us to work because we have a large job. We have a big job, and that's ensuring that all of the groups are together, and that's ensuring that we are all working towards the same goal to ensure that we get Donald Trump out of office. Because if not, we're only hurting ourselves.
Okay.
So.
Good. So, Monica, in the African American community, and we talked a little bit about with the former guest about the 3 wrongful deaths situations that are going on, even though one has already been tried. What's your take on that? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, the only thing that I can say, I don't have information as to what's in the file. So I don't know, or I can't see what our DA is seeing. Okay. But if anybody is wanting to question what is going on, guess what? We all have a right to ask our electeds. We all have a right to question what is taking place. And how you do that is you become a precinct chair. You become a precinct chair, then you can bring a resolution into the party, and the party can then stand behind you in regards to whatever that need is. But as a chairwoman, I can't speak alone, but the party can. And the party can direct us in how we work and how we deal with our electeds. So the best way to get involved and the best way to have your voice heard is join the party, become a part of the process, become a precinct chair, have a right of vote within the party, and then cast your resolutions as to what we do and what we stand for and what we stand against.
So as it pertains to the 3 cases, because even the Rivard report put a nice piece out that they'd want to see our elected officials help get the cases reopened.
Right.
How could you impact that?
The only thing that I can do, so I can't make Mr. Gonzalez do anything, right? But what we can do as a party, as a whole, what we can do is we can ask questions and we can ask to see what is going on or what will be done. And the party can direct that. As I mentioned, that was why I was saying it was so important to become a part of that process. Because that's what pushes our electeds to adhere and answer to even us as a party. So.
Okay. So a lot of our audience, this is voting season, so everybody's either gone to vote or on their way. And next Tuesday is the big day, right?
Next Tuesday is a big day. Please come on out.
Tell us more about Monica.
So I can let you know about what I've done. So when I walked into the party, we have grown our party substantially. Right? So when I walked in, there was 100 and some odd precinct chairs. So throughout Bexar County, there's only 542 that actually have bodies in them. We have more precincts, but there's no bodies in them. Like the airport is a precinct, but there's no precinct chair. Nobody can govern over the precinct as a precinct chair over the airport.
Okay.
But
that's interesting.
Well, no.
Okay.
But as far as filling those vacancies, we have worked extremely hard. We have a great team. We have great committees. John Goodman has worked extremely hard in helping us increase our membership, so has Matthew Montgomery. But we have grown our precinct chairs from 100 and some odd to well over 350. Okay. Now we still need about 200. We have 200 vacancies. So that's why the urge and the request is come be a part of the process so that you have a voice there. Not only that, we have taking the Bexar County Democratic Party kind of from that H&O way of thinking and working, we've kind of modernized it. So all our documentations are online. You can go online and fill out to be a precinct chair. That document will speak to the Secretary of State as well as the election department to ensure that you you're rightfully within that precinct, and we will gladly welcome you in. Also, we have over 6 trainings a month. So we take a precinct chair from coming in to what does it mean to be a precinct chair? How can we provide you the tools? And then showing you how to use VAN, which is our Voter Action Network, which gives you the data for all voting Democrats in Bexar County. Right. And then showing them how to be an activist and going out and a community leader. So we take them through the steps. So what we're trying to do, I cannot do it all as a chairwoman, nor could our deputy chairs, but guess what? If we have all of our precincts covered, can you imagine how powerful we'll be? Because that, for example, if you're a precinct chair, you become a representative of your area, and you can pull out those Democrats to go vote. When I first came in 2018, I ensured we had 51 out of 51 wins in Bexar County. And how did I do that? I was the only chair that reached out to the Texas Democratic Party to bring their money and their resources down here. No other chair had reached up to Austin and said, hey, Bexar County is extremely important and we need you down here, but we need your resources and we need your money down here. And in doing so, I was able to work with them, and we secured 51 out of 51 seats here locally. And that's a huge success. Not only that, in that time, we were able to raise over $200,000. And that was on top of what the resources we were able to pull in from the state. And so it's not a time to be, just to ourselves. This is a time to say, hey, what can you bring to the table, and how can we work together, and how can we get our voices out there, and how can we get those votes? When I first started, people said, don't even look to the north side, it's all Republican. That's not true. We pulled out, the first year, we pulled out 100 and some odd votes out of Chavano Park. This last election cycle, over 450 Democrats are within that area. So there are Democrats that are in those areas that nobody wanted to touch because they said, oh, it's red. But no, there are Democrats there because why? Our parents, right, that were raised on the west side, that were raised on the south side, they have a little education and money, and they move further north. Right?
Okay, sure.
They move further north, and our north siders then move further towards the suburbs. So there are Democrats out there. We just got to go pull them out.
Interesting.
There's also, and there's also what we need help on, and this is where I've talked to Pharaoh, is that there are over 80,000 voters that came out and voted for Obama, rightfully so, on the east and northeast side. But they haven't come back out since. And that's where we need the help. We need to pull those voters back out. If Trump and everything that he's doing has not motivated them to come out, I don't know what will. But we need to pull them out. There's also 40,000 women in Bexar County that are registered to vote and haven't voted. There's another group that we're working with that is going to bring out that women vote. And so right now, that's what we have to do, is we have to collaborate with everyone and say, come on in, and how can you help? Because we have to pull those votes. We have to pull the 80,000 votes out of the east side. We have to pull those 40,000 women votes that are registered and are not voting. We have to get them in. We have to get them to vote for November.
Can precinct chairs help with that?
Precinct chairs can help with that, and that's why they're needed.
How do they engage?
So what happens is precinct chairs are provided the data as to who is out there in their area. So for example, I'm just going to give you a number. I don't know what your precinct is, but I'm going to say you're 2044. So you would have the data for 2044. And as a precinct chair, you would reach out via email, phone call, to block walk, to send a postcard, to give them the information that it is election season, their vote is important, and we need them out, and we need them to come out and vote. And that's how precinct chairs are essential. And that's why we need them. Is because, yes, we can send mass mailers, but guess what? If your neighbor hears from you, he's going to trust you. I mean, I can send out, and we can all send out as much information as possible, and it's needed and it's done. But if your neighbor hears from you, he trusts you, and your neighbor will come out for you.
Okay.
So
you mentioned, while we still have a few minutes here, earlier, a resolution. How does that work?
So our members have voting rights. We're just like a board, right? And so our members they will present a resolution. They will put it through our committee. It will be sent to the CEC, and the body as a whole votes on whether there is an issue or an item that we support or we don't support. So I cannot, as a chairwoman, say I'm going to speak for the Democratic Party and I'm going to do this one issue. I have over 350 per se board members that I also have to answer to. So it is the voice. The power is in the vote, and even with our precinct chairs.
Okay. One last question while we still have you here,
Yes.
Monica. So we have the privilege of interviewing and really getting to meet a lot of the local leaders in the city here, actually in Central Texas. One of the questions I always like to ask is whether you're a mogul, mini mogul, mogul in the making, mogul on the way, bona fide leader, appointed leader, assigned leader. Typically, a leader always has one book they kind of refer to, and they keep it on their nightstand.
Yes.
What's on your nightstand?
My Bible. And I'm going to tell you what people don't know about me. I have been knocked down many times in my life. I've gone through many trials and tribulations, but there's one thing that I always do is I get right back up. I had a child that was born 1 pound 9 ounces. She coded on me 8 times. If nothing in your life can get you through that, I know my God, my Lord can. And there's nothing else. And I will tell you, I've had a mother that they told me, go home, say your prayers. And I said, nope, by the power of faith I believe in. And my mother was fine. My daughter was fine. I'm a fighter. I know you've heard that. But that's because I believe in fighting for what is right. And I believe in fighting for our good people. There's something else I'll leave you with. And there's not, I'm sure you've heard. My husband will pick on me many times because this week alone, I've heard, it's not on my nightstand, but it's something I listen to throughout to motivate me. And that is the Admiral William McRaven's When You Make Your Bed speech. Have you heard it?
Oh, I have, absolutely.
And and many times when I have a little doubt in what's going on with people and things, I listen to that and say, let's make our bed. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep going.
Okay, good, good. I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask me a question. Is there anything you might want to ask me or even our viewing audience?
Well, I love what you've done with your studio, but I also understand that you worked or you had a sponsor that was quite famous. So who was that?
Sponsor? Okay. A partner?
A partner?
Oh,
who was that?
Monica. Many moons ago, I'm originally from California, so many moons ago, and I've been in journalism for 40 years now, publisher. My very first magazine I launched out of Southern California. Those of you who are watching from LA, you remember this. It's called Influence of African Americans. And my very first partner who put up the first money was a gentleman by the name of Johnny Cochran.
Wow.
And at the time, Johnny wasn't a big national icon. This is before the O.J. Simpson trial. But yes, to answer your question, he was
your
very first
one. That's
partner.
awesome.
Yeah.
So are you still friends?
Thanks for asking that question. Well, he's passed away.
Well, he's passed away, but I mean, did y'all stay friends?
We did over the years. And, of course, he turned into this huge, historic, attorney with the whole O.J. Simpson.
So I'm sure he had great stories.
Yeah, and then he expanded his practice throughout the country. But we remained friends over time. So.
Good,
yeah.
Good. Well, what I just want to ask, if we just have a moment, I just want to ask everyone, please come on out, become a part of the process, make your voices heard. It's not just with voting. We need you to come out on Tuesday to vote, but we also need you to join the Democratic Party. And that way you can also have your voice heard. So please come and work with us. We have a lot of work to do towards November.
Monica Alcántara, current Democratic Party chair. Thank you for being with us this evening. And that's been this Friday's episode of Press Play. I'm your host, Cedric Fisher. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Remember, COVID-19 is a menace. It's a beast, and it's on top of us. So listen to the medical experts. Make sure you guys are lining up with all the guidelines. Just protect yourself. We don't want to get into controversy or conversation or conflict or debate over if this thing is real or not. Just put on the mask so one day we can all go back outside. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next time. Have a good evening.